What's up, rock stars? It's Rox. Welcome back to the channel. All right, let's talk about Breonna Taylor. Let's talk about the CDC. Let's talk about ICE and some natural disasters. And let's go on and throw in a little bit about the Rona check-in. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So first story up, we have to talk about the Breonna Taylor settlement that happened in Kentucky earlier this week. The city of Louisville, or I guess the state of Kentucky, has settled with the Breonna Taylor family in the amount of $12 million, which is one of the highest payouts that they have paid to a woman, definitely probably the highest to a black woman that was killed in the way that they said it when I was reading up on it, was a police misconduct case. I guess as of now, that is how they're looking at it. Of course, we know that nobody was charged with murder, and I have been telling you guys all along that I never have felt like they were going to be charged with murder. So it came out that they settled on this $12 million price. That does not necessarily mean that the criminal case has stopped. As a matter of fact, you know, Tamika Mallory and also Ben Crump, is that his name? Why can't I think of his name right now? The lawyer that's handling the case, well, his firm, they said that the criminal case will continue on. They will still press for charges of murder of the three police officers that was involved. They have it most out for Hankinson because I believe he is the one that shot 10 shots into the house. And they believe that his bullet is the one that killed her. But they still would like all three of them to be brought to justice. And as of now, some 6 and something months later, it still hasn't happened. Now, we've had other payouts in other cases such as this. Tamir Rice, his family got, what, $6 million. Eric Garner's family got $5.9 million. When I heard about this case, I was reminded of the Sandra Bland case, whose family also settled, and they got $1 million. The stipulations on the $1 million settlement that came with Sandra Bland's case was that the family would not be able to press any more charges or try to sue, the police department in her death. So that was a trade-off that I remember watching the documentary, and I was pissed. I was just like, I cannot believe that after everything that went through, that we saw on the documentary, it was clear that they were not going to charge anybody in that death. That death is still so very strange to me. Clearly to me, there was something happened up in there that we just never gonna get the answer for. But anyway, I can remember being mad when I got to the end of that documentary and I found out that the family settled. So now that we hear this case, and there are some things that come along with it. They did not have any type of stipulations on this case where the criminal part of this case has to end. So that's why I'm saying that they are still pressing forward and trying to get charges against those three men. There also was set in place some police reformations. They want the police to, they have a housing program now with the police department where the police will get, I guess, maybe low interest rates or some sort of maybe help on down payment or payments or whatever if they choose to live in the community that they are policing. They also have stipulated that they want social workers to go out with certain, with police for certain calls, much like how they're trying to get mental health people to go out with the police when they go out on calls and, there's someone that's mentally ill or in distress. So they've set up other things that they want the police to do, and they have been charged with that, and they are supposed to be making changes to have that happen in their offices. But yeah, the big part of this is $12 million, which is a huge amount of money. How did you guys feel when you found out that she got you know, that the family got $12 million. So let me just be very truthful with you guys. I didn't know how to feel, and I still am not quite sure how I feel about it. I would be lying if I didn't say that it feels like a settlement takes the wind, the strength out of a criminal case, because it feels like the city and the state are in an effort to kind of just pay off and, you know, pay off the family. You know, yeah, we gave you that money. Now we really not going to really try to concentrate on bringing this case to, you know, any type of, you know, court proceedings. And I know that they're saying that they can still press, you know, they can still press forward, that the criminal thing may still happen. The FBI has stepped in and there's an investigation ongoing now. But I just was like, oh man, because immediately I thought about the Sandra Bland case. And I was just like, man, you know, we're all human. And obviously when you hear about $12 million and you think about how people got that money, you know, you start to feel like it's blood money. And you wonder if, you know, I don't know what I would do in that case. I feel two ways about it. One is it probably would be hard for me to feel like I could take that money. Only because I know that no amount of money will bring my child back, which is what her mother said, Tamika. She did say that no amount of money would bring her daughter back. But somebody's got to pay. She didn't say that. That's what I'm saying. Somebody has to pay. Okay. Especially when I feel like there may not be any type of criminal charges that's brought to it. I mean, this is a tiny part of it. At least, you know, financially, this woman has been compensated and really could get way, way more money if you ask me. But, you know, she's been compensated. That money can change her life and could be put to good use and things like that. So, I mean, I can understand that it would be very difficult for people to just turn away from $12 million. You know, you can come up with a plan to do things with it. Or you can go off into the sunset with your money and mourn your child and change your life. And, you know, it's just so complex. I don't know how I feel about any of it, you know. I'm not mad at the mother because I told you guys before that I felt like she should get the money and she should get this criminal case, you know, that they should get charged. But I don't feel like they're going to get charged. And it's so weird. Like, it's my thoughts are all over the place on this one, because one minute I'm just like, oh, I just wish they didn't take that money. And then the other minute I'm just like, well, fuck it. You know, they should give some money because look what's happened, you know. So I'm just kind of all over the place with that one. I did listen to Tamika Mallory speak. I actually have a quote, and it says, quote, "No amount of money will bring back Breonna Taylor. We see this settlement as the bare minimum you can do for a grieving mother. The city isn't doing her any favors. True justice is not served with cash settlements. We need those involved in her murder to be arrested and charged. We need accountability. We need justice." Actually, that is from Until Freedom. That's the statement that they put out. And I did hear Ben Crump was on the Ricky Smiley show and just really trying to get everybody kind of refocused on, yeah, they got the money, but we still have a lot of work to do. We are still trying to press forward in the criminal case and everything. You know, it felt like they were trying to make sure that Black people in particular, you know, didn't feel like, oh, they done took the money and sold out the whole thing and it's over. You know, it's just way deeper than that. And I realized that. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't feel some kind of way. I was just like, you know. But I also have been telling you guys the whole time that I have never felt like they were going to get charged. So something had to happen. But we're going to keep continuing on and hoping that, a grand jury will put that case, because it is going to go before a grand jury, and that they will, decide to go further with this case. A lot of you guys were telling me in the last comments that there won't be any charges, because while it was very much a horrible thing to happen, the police were doing their jobs. They were conducting a no-knock warrant, which were legal at the time. Now they have outlawed, now they say they can't do them because of this case. But at the time, they were able to do it. They were working within their jurisdiction. I guess wrong addresses happen all the time. There's actually a case that I was just reading up on out here in Atlanta. Something similar to this happened some years ago. They weren't necessarily breaking a law because they were working within their role as police officers, and supposedly because they were shot at, they were able to then protect themselves and yada, yada, yada. We don't have police body cam footage. We only have the testimony of the police versus the boyfriend. So, and we see how far that's gotten us thus far. So, I mean, I understand that it's a lot to this case and the reason why it hasn't happened, but it still just doesn't feel like these men should be able to just get fired, possibly get hired in a different county or, different city or state. It just seems like more should happen there. This woman has lost her life. This family has lost their daughter, their niece, their grandchild, their auntie. Someone is dead, and it just, it's such a tiring case, because it just feels like sometimes the wheels are just spinning. It just feels like the wheels are just spinning. And it's unfortunate. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this. The mayor in Louisville has made it clear that they are not admitting any guilt in this. This is just a financial settlement, because we always give people a whole bunch of money when we feel like we were right and they were wrong. It's just like, what you guys giving all this money for if you don't? So that's why it just feels like it's sort of like hush money, and, it's just, Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about it, okay? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Am I not looking at this objectively and understanding, all sides of it? You guys let me know down in the comments below. The CDC is under fire because the head of the CDC, the director, Robert Redfield, spoke out and said that masks, if universally everyone wore a mask, that we could have coronavirus under control within a few months, okay? And that masks were probably going to be more effective than even a vaccine at this point, because, well, we already know that a vaccine is not close. He said it's very realistic to assume that a vaccine wouldn't be really available to the general public until summer of 2021. Oh. Well, that ain't what YSAP been telling y'all, okay? YSAP said that there will be a vaccine available before Election Day. And you guys know that the election happens in November. All right, the beginning of November. So essentially, we would have to have a vaccine on deck by the end of October, rather than go with the director of the CDC, who obviously just doesn't have that position because he's a regular old Joe Schmo. I would imagine that he would know what he was talking about, okay, in comparison to YSAP, you guys. In comparison to YSAP, yeah, who do you think that you should believe in this case? Someone who clearly has lied to you just recently. Remember, we had tapes that were released last week that we talked about, and let's talk about it, where YSAP clearly lied to the American public, downplayed the coronavirus, knew all of the problems that came along with the virus, how deadly it was, how it would affect all of these people. He knew all of these things, Yet and still, he said that he wanted to, you know, lie to the American public because he didn't want to create a panic. Do we not think maybe that would be the same in this situation here? Or do we still just feel like we're going to trust what YSAP says? Why anybody would believe YSAP, okay? Why anybody would take whatever he says with anything other than a grain of salt is fucking beyond me. I just, you know, and it just, I'm amazed that he can get up there and say with a straight face, oh no, Redfield don't know what the fuck he talking about. We're going to have a vaccine, you know, ready at the end of October, beginning of November. It's just way out to me. You would think that the man was out there in the labs cooking shit up himself. And it doesn't happen that way. I am a layman and I know that it doesn't happen. Science is not controlled by the dates that a potential president of the United States, you know, would put out there. Science moves at its own pace. And damn it, you got to conform to whatever the science say, not vice versa. So I just, he's mad at Redfield because, damn it, did not tell you motherfuckers at CDC, don't say shit unless I tell you or my administration tells you to say it. But I would imagine that these people who have dedicated their lives, who went to school extensively, who has studied, who work in these positions, it probably is very difficult for them. I would hope that it would be very difficult, next to impossible, for them to actually lie about something so serious that they know, you know, you're putting your credibility on the line when you just go along with some old crackpot man that calls himself, you know, YSAP. So, hoy, YSAP is a liar. People are still choosing to believe him. What I wonder what really will happen is if YSAP does not win, you know, in the election, God, please let that be. But if he doesn't win, I am going to wonder what all of these people who support him, you know, what is going to be the outcome of it? Because if you are willing to just go along with the shit that he says and does, you revealed your true colors, you know. And so I just really wonder how that's going to be. I mean, it's probably going to be quite a bit of confusion and chaos even after the election. So yeah, you guys, I just had to put that out there for you, because I was just like, yeah, I mean, I guess now he say he making sure that damn vaccine is out, even though it's fucking up people's spines, and, you know, they not sure if these tests, these trials are, you know, if the people are going to pass in time. None of that. I'm tired of talking about it, you guys. What's the next story? All right, you guys, let's talk about this sterilization that's going down out here in Irwin, Georgia. So there was a whistleblower that came out. Her name is Dawn Wooten. She is an LPN, a licensed practical nurse, and she filed a case with the Homeland Security saying that the ICE detention center in Irwin, Georgia had a history of quite a number of hysterectomies on women of color, low-income women of color, and she felt like it was a pattern there. Evidently, as Dawn Wooten was working in this facility, the women would come up to her and tell her that they received hysterectomies, either partial or full hysterectomies, when they did not ask for one. They didn't feel like whatever their issues were, even if they did have issue, they may not have even had any issues, but the doctor that was handling the, you know, that was running the facility at the time, said that they needed to have surgery. And when they went in surgery, thinking that they were maybe getting a polyp or a cyst removed, after they came out, they were told that they got hysterectomy, that they have cleaned out their uteruses. They actually called him the uterus snatcher, and that they didn't know. Now, these women, of course, they're in ICE detention centers. So you got to remember that these women probably, a lot of them don't speak English. You know, English is not their first language. There was a barrier there. They did not have any interpreters available for the women to, you know, clearly know what was going on health-wise. They also complained that the man was very rough, you know, on gynecological exams, made the women very uncomfortable in this time of coronavirus. Now they don't have anything to clean up the facility, that both the staff and the women that are there, you know, aren't protected. And yeah, it's a whole bunch of shit going down at the Irwin Detention Center. Okay, Irwin, Georgia Detention Center, ICE Detention Center. So she put in the complaint along with an organization called Project South. We now have an investigation that is going on. The doctor, she doesn't name a doctor in her complaint, but after the investigation started and they spoke to some of the victims, spoke to some of the advocates of the victims, spoke to some people that used to work there, it was all very clear that the doctor that they were speaking of, his name is Mahindra Amin. When the investigation got started, Bob Trammell, who was the Georgia state rep, he ordered immediately that the licenses of everybody that was involved in this thing, that everybody's license was suspended until they figured out, you know, till they got to the bottom of this. Evidently, they tried to reach up with the doctor, and he said that, you know, there haven't been any fact-checking, that he didn't do anything wrong. He probably did maybe 2 or 3 surgeries in the last 2 or 3 years. And, you know, evidently, that doctor is saying that he don't know where all these 20s and 30s and, you know, numbers of people that they're saying he didn't do. Well, he didn't say that he didn't do it. He just says that he only remembers doing 2 or 3 hysterectomies. So this is just unconscionable, you guys. I cannot imagine going in for something and coming out and them telling you that your complete uterus is gone. You know, some girls as young as 23 years old go in there because they have light bleeding. They're trying to find out why they might be spotting, and you turn around and now you're told that you cannot have children anymore. It's just ridiculous. It is not surprising because this country has a history of doing things like this, conducting experiments, sterilization of women of color. You know, these things have happened historically. So that part isn't surprising, but even when you still hear about it, it's so inhumane. Like, I just, you know, you become a doctor because you are trying to help people. And for you to completely wipe away the chances of someone having a child of their own, you've taken away any choice. You have exerted complete power and control over this woman's body and have changed it in a way that it can never get back. Like, you know, I was reading that story. Actually, I saw the Don Wooten girl. And let me tell you, I'm nervous for her. You know, as a whistleblower, she's very much in the forefront of this. She's in the media. We know what she looks like, know her full name, all of this, you know. And when you start talking about ICE, and I mean, if they dirty enough to do shit like this, they can't be above, you know, possibly getting at her. You know, I don't want to wish that on her, but I really hope that they're protecting this woman, because this is big and the investigation is going on. And yeah, it is just very, very disturbing. And I was mad when I read that. But she said, yeah, she had these women asking her all these questions, and as a LPN, she had no answers for them. You know, and I guess when she looked into it, she was just like, oh no, something is really not right here. Okay, definitely the right thing to do, but yeah, I'm nervous for her. So we gonna, you know, send one up for your girl, make sure that she's okay. But also that they need to get to the bottom of this, because this is horrible. But you hear about what's going on, you know, because everything else is so all over the fucking place with this coronavirus and the election and all of that, because all that is all over the place. We have forgotten about what's happening at the borders and children being, you know, removed from their families and sent back to we don't even know where, just over on the other side of the border. These kids going back down, got no I mean, it's been a lot that's going on that we probably have been, not probably, we have been distracted from. And this story just reminds you that, yeah, still a whole bunch of other shit going down that folks need to keep their eye on. I think we'll hear more about this story for sure. Of course, right now they're saying that they're not going to respond to an ongoing investigation, but they've denied that it was true and all of that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more about this. I think it's horrible though. And when I know more, we'll definitely talk about this more. All right, you guys, let's talk about the natural disasters that's happening all over the United States. Let's first start with the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, all of the areas, all the states over there that are being affected by numerous fires that we've been talking about. It seems that the weather has taken a turn and some areas are getting rain. So we're hoping that that will offer some sort of reprieve for these fires, maybe, you know, put some of them out, maybe clean up some of the air. The air quality is really bad in many spots, and just kind of help them out. They definitely need the help. It's going to take a while for them to get those fires under control. Millions and millions and millions of acres that have been burned away. Last week, I was hearing different stories about people who, you know, the fire just came in so quickly. You guys heard that story about the little boy that the mother told the boy to leave with the dog, and then the mother stayed in the house because she had her mother, who was like in her mid-70s, who couldn't walk. She decided that the only way that she could probably get help for her mother was for her to leave as well, and she had to leave her mother in the house. So she left, and the ground was so hot that it burned her shoes off of her feet and her clothes, I guess because she was very close to the flames, trying to get, you know, a 2 or 3 mile stretch down this road to a little bit of safety. The husband ended up finding her, not even realizing that that was his wife, as he was trying to go back up into the area to get to them. I mean, the story was just horrible. Anyway, it turns out that the grandmother, who was still in the house, was found in the car with the 13-year-old son who had been told to leave earlier. He had come back to the house with the intentions of driving him and his grandmother out of the neighborhood. And the fire, you know, I don't know if they died from inhalation, smoke inhalation, or if they were actually overtaken by the fire, but they died in the fire. And there were many other stories that was just heartbreaking, just heartbreaking. This woman has had the clothes and her shoes burned off of her, and she had all of these burns all over her. She's in the hospital, the husband trying to get up there. I mean, it was just horrible. And like I'm saying, there's many other stories that we probably won't even hear about. But, you know, people are really suffering up that way. And I am just so sorry for them. So this rain that's heading that way, you know, hopefully that'll help them out. But like always, you know, my rock stars that's out that way, you know, people have been asking me how my family is. My family is in LA. And so LA itself has not been affected by the fires, because that usually happens on where there's a lot of brush or there's a lot of, you know, open land and things like that. Los Angeles, it ain't no brush. You lucky if you can get a little patch of grass in front of your house. It is very much an urban city, and there's not much of, you know, that to even get to catch fire like that, and to, you know, to continue to spread. So my family is safe. So thank you guys all for asking. But, you know, we all know somebody who knows somebody who lives in the areas that are being affected. So, you know, my prayers are up for everybody out that way. Now down south, or, you know, east, down this way, we've got hurricanes and you know, to worry about. Right now, Hurricane Sally is the latest of the 4 that have hit in the area since hurricane season started. And that is like a record number. They said we haven't had this many hit in this early in the season in 16 years. It was a Category 2 hurricane, hit the panhandle of Florida and parts of Alabama as well, ripped through there. It downgraded to a tropical storm by the end of yesterday. But the hurricanes in and of itself, yes, they do wreak havoc when they blow through, but the bigger problem is the flooding that comes along with it. The huge surges of water that comes in and completely floods out these towns. All right. And that is where most of the danger entails, is where, you know, people, they have flash floods and all of a sudden you've got people drowning who can't get out of their homes. They're stuck, you know, their cars and everything. So that's what's going on this side of the United States. So much shit happening. They say over 500,000 people are without power. It's weird. This morning, my power has been out pretty much all morning. At first, I didn't even think I was going to be able to get this video done because my laptop wasn't charged. So I was like, I'd be able to record it in the car, but I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to edit it because I don't know if my power is going to be on when I go in the house. But, Atlanta just got like the little outskirts, little bit of rain, you know, some wind and things. Just me not having power is an inconvenience for a couple of hours. Can you imagine the people who are stuck in, you know, who are in this flooding situation that are going to be without power for some, you know, for some days, possibly could be weeks before they can get all that, you know, back on track. So it's just a crazy time. Like, people got so much shit that they worrying about. You know, the stress levels and the anxiety levels of the folks in the United States right now has got to be through the roof. You know, if you ain't worried about catching a virus and you worried about, you know, our elections that are coming up, you worried about these natural disasters that are hitting in certain areas. You know, we can't forget about regular crime that happens, regular health issues that people still have. I mean, other things are still happening. People still have cancer. People still have heart disease. People still have diabetes. People still rob and cheat. And I mean, it's still a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on, you know. And when you look at it, boy, it's just bleak. It is just bleak. Sometimes when I do these Let's Talk About It videos, I'll be like, oh, they just seem like they're just mostly depressing, you know? And I mean, I guess it's just something serious that we have to talk about, but it's just, that's why I kind of separated it also away from Top of the Blogs, because Top of the Blogs is supposed to be fun and we're supposed to get a good kiki about what's happened in the week. And, you know, if I have to keep putting this kind of thing in there, it kind of just takes away from that. So if you don't want to watch this kind of content, you know, at least it's separate and out on its own. So that, you know, that's kind of also the reason why I did Let's Talk About It, because this constant content was turning down, you know, our fun in Top of the Blogs. So, but I mean, I'm going to still remain hopeful, you guys. We cannot give up hope. Sometimes that's all we have. And, you know, in the past, sometimes that's been enough. So, we're going to continue to, you know, but we also have to do the work. And I realize that as well. So we just have to, you know, put our best foot forward as we try to forge through all of this crazy, just crazy, crazy times. The things that we can control, at least. These natural disasters, we can't control that directly. Anyway, let's move on, you guys. But that is what's happening. Everybody that's in all of these areas that I spoke about, just keep your heads up, you guys. We gonna get through it. All right, you guys, let's do a quick Rona check-in. So my family's good. Actually, my throat hurts a little bit today. I'm just like, Lord, let me make sure that I ain't got the Rona, child. But pretty much we're okay. Hopefully you guys are okay as well. We're around 37,000 cases a day now, and that seems to be holding steady. You know, we had gotten all the way up to about 60,000 cases a day. So, you know, it's been a damn decrease for sure. We're not sure if that's because people just aren't getting tested. Remember, YSAP was telling y'all that you ain't got to get tested no more unless you have symptoms. If you don't have symptoms, then there's no reason for you to get tested, even if you've been around somebody that's been infected. You know, the old put your head in the sand kind of approach. That's what's going on there. So that might also be some of the reason why, you know, people were discouraged because it was hard to get your test. And once you got your test, and it was hard to get your results, you know, people were waiting for weeks. Well, not weeks, let me not exaggerate, but more than the 2 or 3 days that they said, you know, close to a week to get your results. And so, you know, some people were just like, fuck it. Just, you know, unless I get real sick, then I'll go on and go to the doctor. But other than that, you know, people probably have just been like, forget it. They've been somewhere around 1,100 deaths a day. Okay. So, and that also feels like that's similar to what I talked about last week. I got a little news on the stimulus package that they've been trying to hammer out for, you know, for us American citizens. They've got a new agreement that we look like we might be able, you know, Nancy Pelosi says she's very hopeful. She feels like this might be the one, okay? Whereas I believe they were trying to spend somewhere around $3 trillion. The Democrats, the Republicans wanted to spend $1 trillion. It looks like they have come together, and looks like they've agreed on a $1.5 trillion package. Okay. And so let me just kind of tell you guys what happens in this package. First up, most importantly, what the fuck is going on with unemployment? Well, supposedly some people have already been getting the extra $300 or extra $400, I guess, depending on what state you lived in, from YSAP when he had signed those executive orders. Some states did put that into action, and some people have been receiving the extra money. I know a couple of people who said that they saw that it was pending in their accounts, that live here in Georgia, and even some friends that were in California. So it looks like it's happening for some people. So I don't know how this is going to change it, but now they're saying that with this stimulus package, the unemployment, they will get $450 a week for the next 8 weeks. Okay. I'm assuming this is from the day that they sign the you know, if they agree on this package. $450 a week on top of the money that you would get for your regular state benefits, unemployment benefits. You'll get that for 8 weeks, and then you will get up to $600 a week from that point on through the end of January of 2021. All right. I don't know what's going to make you qualify for up to $600 a month, but I mean a week, but you could possibly get up to $600 a week. It probably is going to depend on what your salary was, what you're missing out on, and they're going to do some sort of calculations there. Okay, so that is one thing that's happening. They are also going to have a $1,200 stimulus check. A second round of checks will be going out. This one will still be the same. You have to make $75,000. You can't make more than $75,000. If you're single, if you were married, then you can't make more than $150,000 together. Okay. And if you stay under those numbers, then you're going to get, you know, $1,200 per person. You also will get $500 per dependent. That doesn't matter if they are in college. That doesn't matter if you are taking care of maybe your adult parents. Your adult parents, of course, they'll be adults, but your elderly, like, you know, if you're taking care of any adults that you were taking care of that you can claim as a dependent on your taxes, you will get $500 for them as well. Okay. Ain't no limit on that one, and it's going to happen for everybody. So that is going to be happening. They're saying that there will be an automatic third round of the stimulus checks, I guess the same amount in March of 2021, if we are still like finding ourselves in a huge bind with this coronavirus. Okay. So that is another thing that's happening. They're saying that they're going to give another round of the PPP you know, money to small businesses, and they'll make it easier for them to understand, you know, what they can and cannot use this money for. And there is a, you know, a very clear forgiveness package with it. I think that they may not even have to pay that money back. State and local government is going to receive money so that, you know, they can save jobs, and they can only use that money towards that. You know, it has to be because of a result of the coronavirus. It can't just be money that local or state government, you know, if there was a deficit somewhere, you can't take this money that's coming, you know, from this stimulus package and use it there. It has to be allotted to saving of jobs. Also, education will get money, elementary, high school, college. Okay, the post office is supposed to get some money. The farmers are supposed to get some money. They're gonna spread all this money around, and once they get all that done, it's gonna equal up to $1.5 trillion. So like I'm saying, they're saying that they're hopeful on both sides that this one is going to stick. And if that is the case, I guess everybody can maybe, you know, hopefully this will help those of us who really truly need it. And really, honestly, even if you didn't need it at this point, you know, our government has put us through this bullshit. It's the least that they can do. All right. So go on and send the fucking money. You know, that's basically how I feel about it. Send this motherfucking money. All right, you guys. So that's it. Everything else that I have, I am going to move it on over to top of the blogs, because I think that, yeah, I think that was our serious subjects for today. You guys make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Rocks. The channel's for It's Rocks. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right, all right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.